second speaker of the evening. This is James Betteley, works for the DevOps guys. Say hi, James.
Hello.
So, just a short anecdote. Sorry, I know I'm very boring, so I'll try and keep it short. There's this a couple of years ago, there was two DevOps consultancies who really seemed to be doing very well. And there was DevOps guys, and there was Contino. Tino's now Sindachi, and then one goes to me and says, like, "Oh, we have a big rival with the DevOps guys." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we really get one over on them." I'm sure they're the same. But actually, we're all kind of nice and fluffy, and we'll go for a beer and everything. So, unfortunately, it's not all that controversial. But I've definitely got a better beard, right?
Depends on your metrics.
I'm trying to look like the vagrant out of the vagrant logo.
I don't know what I'm going for. Jeremy Beadle, maybe. Okay. Right, I'll get off the stage and let James get on with it. James Betteley, thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm here to talk to you today about DevOps transformations and why some of them are failing. It's going to be a very non-techie talk, I'm afraid, so going on the back of a particularly technologically focused talk, I'm not sure how that's going to go down, but get plenty of beer in you and then it'll go quite well. So what I'm going to talk to you about is basically DevOps transformations, not just coming in and doing engineering or focusing too much on just trying to start out with DevOps, but organisations who really think they're going on a DevOps transformation or doing some sort of DevOps initiative, and how they tend to, in some cases, fail. I don't know how many people have heard those statistics that 70% of all organisational changes fail. Who's heard that one? It's a staggering number. There's a bit of controversy about how realistic that statistic is, but it's some of them are going it's higher. But yeah, I agree. I think in my experience with these things, it's staggeringly high. And some of the reasons that I think these are failing, these organisational changes are failing, are going to come out in this talk. Hopefully. Unless I got the wrong slides. So of course this is going to be about how the DevOps transformations that we get involved in, except the ones that I get involved in, they all work a charm. These are the ones that Matt works on. Right, let's start off with, who's that? Yes, it's the who. The answer is in the question. I'll start out with the who, obviously, because that's how all presentations start. I'm James Betteley, I work for DevOps Guys, as Matt's already said. We work in a kind of broad spectrum of clients, so we have a focus on engineering, so we do have a lot of DevOpsy engineering thing. I don't really mean it like that, I mean like automation stuff. But we also have a focus on cloud operations and on this thing called DevOps transformation, which is more like trying to help organizations change the way they think, change the way they plan and deliver software. And that could be around changing their whole team setups. It could be around changing the way they plan software. It could be around their hiring, it could be around their skill sets, all that sort of thing. So we look at all of their constraints in how they plan and deliver software, and we advise on how to optimize it. So I'll try and get this out of the way straight away. The number one reason why DevOps transformation fails is automation, because people aren't after DevOps transformations. They're after automation. They say they want DevOps transformation, but what they mean is they want automation. The word DevOps has become synonymous with automation to a certain degree. And it's really killing us. So we get involved with a lot of organizations who say, yeah, we want this DevOps thing, we want this DevOps thing. We go and do this kind of review of them. We say, okay, here's some things we can really help out with. We can try and amend your culture here. We can try and augment your team there. Or we can try and, I don't know, fix your technical debt or something like that. And they go, oh, but couldn't you just come and do some scripting? That's what we kind of wanted. Okay, you think DevOps means that? Okay, right, I get it. So they never even get off the ground, because what they're after is automation. So I'll get that out of the way right now. And on to the real reasons why some of the people who are actually trying to do DevOps transformations, why they're failing. Anyone read that book? that was why I started with The Who, obviously, because I've read the book. Yeah, so this slide is basically about organisations not really understanding the problem space, not understanding the reason why they're going on a DevOps transformation. So we've had experience with some organisations who want to do DevOps because their big competitor spent £9 million last year on DevOps transformation. So I've got to spend some money on DevOps transformation. That's not why you should do DevOps transformation. That's how much money your competitor spent on DevOps transformation. And it's nothing to do with the intrinsic motivator, the real reason, the business value that you should be getting from DevOps change. So understanding the real problem space, I suppose. Some organisations find it very hard to really get a good picture of the problem that they're trying to solve. They might find it that it's a bit too woolly, it's too vague. They don't quite understand what is the problem that DevOps addresses. So we're really trying to highlight that. What is the problem space? What is the competitive advantage that DevOps can get or give you? Is something that we're really going to try and drive forward with our organisations. Where is that? For points? Where?
Now.
No. It's Arc de Triomphe. Just not the one in Paris. No. It's a different one. There's loads of these apparently. It's like a thing that the Romans did and then everyone's copied. So apparently if you have some sort of major victory, you have this, you go and get someone to build an arc, almost. That one's in Moscow. So the where is something that organisations are really struggling with as well. Where's this DevOps transformation taking me? If you don't know where you're going, or where you're starting from even, how the hell are you going to plan on how to get there? It's like giving directions to someone, saying, okay, this is how to get to me, when you don't even know where they're starting from. So, as the DevOps guys, we have a pretty good idea, or we can form a good idea, of what good looks like. I can't believe I just said that.
What does good look like?
Good art. We think we have a good idea of what good could look like for some of our some of our clients, and we try and work out where they're starting from. But they try and have this view of, okay, that's what good looks like. Right, we'll just go and try and get there, without working out where they're starting from first. So if you don't have any idea where you're starting from, and you just come up with a strategy or a plan to get to this thing, then you're going to come up with a plan that's completely not sympathetic to your starting place. So our advice is quite straightforward. Recognise where you are, recognise where you want to get to. But don't forget that goal, that place where you want to get to, that DevOps nirvana, that might change as you discover more about yourselves. And as you change, your goal will change. But embrace that. You see what I've done there? I literally Googled the hat. So yeah, the other thing, obviously apart from the where, the where and the why are the sort of the fundamentals of understanding about a DevOps transformation. But the how do you go about doing it? That's all the detail. That's all the little bits you need to work out about your organisation and how you're going to plan and do this change. And that's where it gets really, really hard. So a lot of people fall down in the how bit. And we'll take a look at some of the things where they really fall short. So we're going to look at things like the cultural maturity of your organisation, leadership styles, all that sort of stuff, the people, the skill sets, the processes, the tooling to some degree, technical debt, that sort of stuff. Those are the kind of things we analyse that organisations sometimes just don't have a strong story around. So how can you lead this DevOps transformation when you have no idea about how to deal with those things? The first one. So, who leads these DevOps transformations?
You are.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, exactly. You can't outsource leading an organisational change. So if you say, if you say a consultant's going to do it. No, they're not, because they're not going to know your organisation intimately, and they're also not a key influencer in your organisation. So how can a consultant come in and lead your organisational change? But you need to look at an organisation and say, who are the key influencers? right from the top all the way down to the bottom. Get those people on board. Tell them this is your job. Leading an organizational change, changing the way an organization works. That's your dev team, your test team, your ops team, infrastructure, architects, DBAs. All of these guys are now going to have to change the way they work and work in a more collaborative, synergistic kind of way and have a shared common goal. Now, that could be so far departed from where they are right now and the way they currently work in their silos, so it's going to be a huge departure for them. But who's going to inspire them and lead them through that change? Who are the people who lead changes in organizations? Quite often it's quite senior people. So these senior people are going to have to recognize they've got a job to do here. Doing a DevOps transformation may require your CTO, your CEO, or someone like that, someone with charisma who really gets people into into the story they're selling. So identify who those people are and tell them you're going to have to lead this or it's not going to happen. Here's another one, misjudging scope. So we've been engaged with a couple of organizations who quite amusingly were undergoing this DevOps transformation or a DevOps initiative, and the scope was the dev team. No ops. So the ops team, they're undergoing their own initiative and they're around modernization and all that sort of stuff. We're going to focus on the DevOps. So essentially that they mean they wanted us to sort of help with their continuous delivery lifestyle, continuous delivery pipelines, that sort of thing, automation, one way or another. Maybe getting the teams to change the way the teams work, taking some of the responsibility off the operations teams, perhaps, utilising cloud, that sort of thing. But that's not embracing, it's not empowering everyone who's responsible for delivering, running and maintaining your applications. And that for us is more aligned to what DevOps is. So when the alarm bells start to sound, when we hear, don't talk to the ops guys, they're not involved. But you'll be surprised. Some organisations are just missing the scope of DevOps change. And the other team that we find that are quite often missed out are teams like just the product owners. And not getting a clear idea of what, because we try and create these product teams. So one of the things that we try and promote is the idea of a product team, and as Tom was talking about. So creating a very highly cross-functional product team who can devise, plan, build, run and maintain a product. Now, if you can't get the people who've got the vision of the product involved in this and change the way they think, then you failed right from the start. If you Google fear of change, the pictures aren't very interesting. Obviously this is a bit of an obvious one. Lots of organisations fear the change. They've got these entrenched processes and they might have people who have been there for 100 years and they don't like the idea that the ground is moving from beneath them. Genuinely, some people don't like change. I worked at an organisation in London not too long ago, and this is a genuine story. You'll find it hard to believe, but I still do. And there was a guy, funny enough, in the infrastructure team who went on holiday every year to the same place. And I say the same place. I mean, it was in Spain, I think it was Benidorm or something like that. I might be doing a bit of a disservice there. Exactly, not just the same building, same hotel, same room. Same room, every year. There's a guy who knows what he likes. There's a guy who doesn't like change. We gave the department, we gave that team some training on infrastructure as code using Chef and Service Pack and test-driven infrastructure as code. And the first thing he was away, presumably. He was on the first session, and in the first break he said, "When are you going to make me redundant?" I said, "No, I'm literally skilling you up." So people do fear that. They fear for their jobs, and they don't get the message that you're trying to give them, which is, "I'm skilling you up here." we try and promote to the individuals who think like that we try and change the way they think from feeling less unemployable to try and make them think about being more employable. Anyway, what can you do about this? Not a lot, other than address it, well, not address it, but call it out, admit it. You know, who are these people who fear the change? Who are the departments? And there's more than just people. And sometimes you do have to do something about it, but I would recommend you educate them. Take the softly approach rather than take them out the back and shoot them. That could work. There's more. It's not just infrastructure people, but it can be the senior managers as well. Sometimes, and this is something that took me quite a while to appreciate, that some senior managers see the idea that you're coming in and changing their processes and even talk about trying to change their culture as a direct attack on them. And I often wondered, why is this getting such a frosty reception when I first started doing this DevOps transformation consultancy? And it took me a while to work it out. And I realized that these processes and these cultures that exist are sometimes and quite often set up by those senior managers. So they see you as someone coming in and criticizing their hard work, who's spent, they've spent the last 10 years building up the culture within this organization. They've spent the last 10 years building out these processes, so they live by them and they honestly believe they are right. Now maybe they were right, but things change. And our approach to dealing with this particular situation is go down the evolution path. And we try and say, look, it's not the strongest of the species who survive, it's those who are more adaptable to change. So this process or this culture that you set up, maybe it was right at the time, but we've just got to try and change it. So we're going to go quite heavily down that route and try and be a little more gentle with our approach to senior managers and talking about changing their culture and so on. For me, that was quite a revelation. Yeah, like dinosaurs. Yeah, I didn't say that. But yeah, we try and sort of underline the fact that DevOps transformation is more of an evolution than revolution. Entrenched processes and cultures. Yeah, we find this quite a bit. And there isn't a really strong story around how to address this in a lot of organizations. So a lot of organizations will say to us, this DevOps transformation thing, yeah, great, or you're going to have trouble with these boys. Yeah, the security compliance guys, good luck. And we kind of go, well, what are your plans on that? And they go, you are, you're our plan. Like, what do you want me to do? The thing is that there are these things, there are these really entrenched processes, but lots of organizations going on these DevOps transformations, they have no plan on how to deal with them. They know that these entrenched processes exist, and these entrenched cultures, and these departments, even individuals who just love the way that things have worked and have worked like that for the last 100 years, and they're like, that is it. But they've got no, and it could be diametrically opposed to this DevOps way that they want to go down. And they know it, but they don't want to do anything about it. They kind of think, if I ignore it, it'll go away. Now, if you see an entrenched process or culture that's diametrically opposed to your new vision, your new way of doing things, you have to do something about it. It won't just go away. All that will happen is there'll be conflict. So you have to address it. It depends on what it is. I haven't got a really strong answer for you on how to do it, because all of these different cultures and all these different processes are by very nature different. So you just need to be very conscious of it. Identify them for starters and call them out. The skill sets and experiences thing is an interesting one, because in lots of organizations we talk about, okay, who leads your DevOps transformation? Now, we work with some really big enterprise organizations who have like a transformation team. Yeah, we lead organizational transformation. It's like, wow, great. But lots of organizations don't do that. They think, right, we're going to go on this DevOps transformation, and that guy over there is going to do it. And it's not even his day job. That's just the thing he's doing on the side, right? You can't do an organizational change on the side. And not if you've already got another day job. This takes time, it takes real effort, it takes a lot of motivation, and you've got to actually do stuff. So if you're like maxed out with work and you've got a day job, you can't go and lead an organizational change, and you can't even be part of an organizational change. And who's got the experience and skill sets of doing organizational change anyway? Quite often it's given to the person who has got nothing better to do, or a junior, or something like that. And those people have got no experience of org change and how to change a culture. They don't know how to do it, so don't give them the job of doing it. And this is the other one. What works? So we talk to organizations about what works for you. Talk about a project, an initiative, a program, something like that that works. Give us a list of all the really successful programs and initiatives that you have done. And now let's take a look at them and see if we can find anything in common. Okay, that's got that person working on it. Okay, you really tried to attack this thing across all of these successful ones. These things work for you. So let's take those, let's put that person, let's try and tackle technical debt or something, because that seems to be a theme that people respond to really well within all your successful transformations and stuff that you've done. And let's try and apply that in your DevOps transformation. But people don't seem to do the research and find out what actually tickles them, what actually works for their organization. There isn't a really deep understanding of what really ticks their box.
Bonuses.
Bonuses, yeah. Financials. Is that the motivator? That's the kind of thing you want to find out.
You want that when you put it in the staff plan.
So here's a bunch of things then that we try and call out when we're talking about a DevOps transformation. We try and answer these questions, or at least get an awareness of the situation around these things. So why are they doing it? Why are you doing a DevOps transformation? What's the business driver? What's your problem space? Where are you? And where do you want to be? Answer that. Give us an assessment of where you think you are in terms of all your DevOps things and all the stuff that you want to go and do. And where do you want to be? Where do you think that successful place looks like? Who's going to lead this? Who are the people? Who's the DevOps team? Who's going to actually help run this? Who are your key influencers? Find them out. Scope. Which teams are or aren't involved in this? You've got to have all the people in your software delivery lifecycle pretty much involved in this, because this is going to change the way they work. Change fear. Work out who's going to fear this change the most and address them. Try and educate them. This isn't them losing their jobs right now. Change denial. Which are these really entrenched processes and stuff like that, and how are you going to deal with the leadership who are going to get offended when you say, this culture sucks? What's got to go? What doesn't work? What's going to be diametrically opposed to your DevOps transformation? Call it out. That's got to go. Time. How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost as well? That's another one. People have this idea that it's going to be quite quick. It could be 6 weeks. DevOps transformation in 6 weeks. Yeah, fine, because it's just automation, right? No, it could take years. We're talking about changing a culture. The team. Who's going to do this? Right, you're changing the way your teams work, changing the way you think about software, the way you deliver software. This has got to be somebody's job. It's not part of somebody's job. It's not just something that they can do in their lunch break. And again, the what works. What works for you? That's pretty much the assessment. Here are some kind of common questions, maybe pitfalls and sort of things that we kind of get asked. Is it just about automation? No. I know I need to do DevOps. What is it? That's just a fundamental kind of, it's a problem with DevOps. There is no one definition of what DevOps is, so everyone has their own. And for a lot of people, DevOps is, oh yeah, infrastructure as code, or for someone else it's installing Jenkins. That's not DevOps. So yeah, come to a common definition with these guys and work out what it is. Is a DevOps transformation big, small, or impossible? A good idea. That. Well, ask that question. Ask yourselves: is it big, small, or impossible within my organisation? At least be honest. Do I have the right skill sets and tools? Here's a good one. What's a good strategy for a DevOps transformation? You'll be surprised. Like, people will ask this. And how much will it cost? You can email us and we'll give you a quote. And that's it, I'm out of time. But yeah, please fire off even more questions or the one I just skipped.
How much will it cost? Yeah. Okay, we've got a question for James. Let's start at the front, Raj. Sorry guys, can you keep it down please?
Right at the back.
You mentioned this being about software delivery, but I think one of the biggest obstacles to projects in general is that people don't understand that it's not just software, it's that very first question of yours, the why, and how that ties into actual business requirements. How do you address the fact that people have already come up with solutions for a business requirement, and then they want you to come in and say, but this is going to be DevOps?
Well, I don't think we really get involved in that sort of. We don't get engaged at that point. We do always question where is the business value in this. So if what we're doing isn't delivering value, or we see someone who is trying to do something that we don't think is delivering any value to themselves, we call it out and we say, look, this isn't strategically delivering you any value, even tactically it's not doing anything for you. We believe in the whole theory of constraints thing, and if you try and optimize any part of your system that isn't a constraint, you're just wasting your time. So we try and be honest in that sense.
Next.
Thank you for a great talk. So let's say you have a team who's like actually on track, they know where they are, they know where they want to go, but it's just about like the habits are ingrained to do one way, and let's say for 2 weeks you say we're going to be doing it this way, we're going to try to have this blameless postmortems, going to have this and this and that, and then something like stressful happens, or just you fall back into your old habits, essentially. How do you prevent that, and how do you ensure that doesn't happen anymore?
Yeah, that happens quite a lot. So, worked with an organisation who were undergoing this kind of DevOps and Agile transformation, and then suddenly they won this big contract, and it was like, we've got to get this project done, it's 3 months. Waterfall. It's doing waterfall. No, and not in any way DevOps either. So when the pressure's on, there is a tendency to revert to your old stereotypes and your old sort of comfortable ways of doing things. And what you need to do there is really strongly state the business case and the values of why you wanted to go on this transformation in the first place. Say, listen, we can't afford not to do this, as much as we'd like to just have this comfortable old way that we know and hate. It's actually beneficial for you to take that risk and do this in a DevOps kind of way. You need people to be around to actually do that.
Cool. Thanks very much, James.